Hey, I'm going to do a little real-time carving here for you. I haven't done any carving in a while. I certainly haven't done any real-time carving. I'm just looking at the looking at my YouTube channel. It's very slowly gaining some support, I guess, gaining subscribers, but the vast majority of them are looking at my carving videos, which I haven't really done any of in a long time. I've been getting into drawing and painting just because I can do drawings and painting. It's so much faster than I can do these carvings. So I figured I'd maybe come up with some smaller carving projects that I could potentially knock out a lot faster, not only for the YouTube channel, but to be able to sell stuff and not have to put such a high price tag on it. I'm trying to sell stuff on Etsy. I've sold a couple of carvings through the years, but not a whole heck of a lot of them. And I think it's just the sticker shock. And when you spend 40, 50 hours carving something, you have to charge a pretty decent amount. And a couple people commenting on my videos saying my prices are too high, and well, I can't spend 40 hours on something and charge $100 for it. So I'm thinking maybe if I show people in real time carving and how long it takes and the work involved, we'll have a little more appreciation for the value of the carvings. So this project, I'm thinking I'm going to make some coasters. I'm going to make like 4 of these for like a set of coasters. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to coat them with what do they call that, clear coat or whatever stuff they use. I've seen it on bars and stuff. It's like a real thick polyurethane. Well, I'm going to attempt to like fill these in completely so that it ends up being like just a solid top. Thought about doing that a couple times. Either putting some of my old chip carvings, I thought of maybe putting glass over them and use them as like a tabletop, which could still be an idea. But just looking for projects that I can do that maybe like a set of 4 of these I can charge maybe, if I can keep the price under $100, I think might get a little more interest in it. Of the carvings that I did sell, it seems like I sold most of the cheapest ones I had. I guess it's just the way it is. People don't want to. I've had a lot of people watch the videos of my carvings, and some of the ones I've had the most views on, I still haven't sold. I've been sitting in my Etsy shop for literally years, and yet I've had thousands of views on my videos. So it's just, I guess, name recognition and everything else. Some people spend thousands of dollars on an abstract painting, but can't spend a couple $100 on a carving. That's literally took me 50 hours to do, And I don't mind having stuff, good carvings on my wall for a while either, so I'm not in that big a hurry to get rid of some of them. But occasionally kind of make some room to do some new ones. So yeah, I'm not really going to explain too much of the carving process. I've got tutorial videos and stuff like that out. So it's pretty self-explanatory what I'm doing. Is the carving knife I'm used for my stop cuts. Using this skew just to get into the corners nice and deep, so it pops out a little easier. And then number 5, knock out the main body of the removal. And also another number 5, but those curved chisels, so you can get in there a little bit better and smooth it out. And that's about all the deeper I'm planning on going this particular project. I don't want to spend hours and hours on each one of these because I want to be able to, like I said, keep the price low. And possibly be able to knock out a couple in a day, you know. So yeah, it's going to be a little Celtic knot. I won't do the like the underlaps, like right here. This is gonna go under this strand here, but I won't do that till I'm done getting the depth on the rest of it. Okay, now the big difference on this one is going to be I'm going against the grain. So it took me not very long. Let's see, what am I, 8 minutes in on this one? It took me 8 minutes to do here. Will probably take me 10 to do here because it's going to be so much tougher to cut across the grain, and going to be a lot more careful that these little pieces don't chip off. Whereas this is being held by this entire grain. These are only being held by this tiny amount of grain here. See, the risk that you have on something like this is if I try and push this knife down too far, the knife itself will act as a wedge and want to pop out some of these pieces, which is still, you know, it's very likely to happen even while I'm recording this. So I think whenever you're doing wood carving, it's a good idea to keep some wood glue handy because it's very likely you might need it. I don't think I have done too many full projects that I didn't end up needing to glue a little tiny piece on here or there. Or sometimes Sometimes a piece flies off as you're carving it, and then you kind of just have to hide it the best you can. But like these removal parts here, I got to be very gentle. I don't want to smack up against this edge, or it'll very easily knock a piece off. And I've had a few complaints, I guess you'd call them, on my other videos saying, oh, the time lapse, you don't learn anything like that. And I suppose that's true, but as I said, sometimes a 40-hour carving, you can't exactly show every minute of it. So that's another reason I'm thinking of these smaller projects. Maybe I can, even if something does take a couple hours, I can maybe do part 1, part 2. My internet is not the greatest. It's the fastest I can get around here. I wish I can get it fast enough that I can stream, but I tried streaming once and it just failed completely. And I got a slightly faster connection, and I haven't tried it since, but I did the speed test on it, and it's still very much towards the low end of what's recommended for streaming. It would be a lot easier for me if I could stream, because then I wouldn't have to. I have to take this off of my camera on the computer, and then I think it only records it in like 30-minute chunks or something, and then I have to edit it together, export it out of the editing program, and then upload it to YouTube, which is all very time consuming, especially on a longer form video like this. If I just streamed it, it'd be just instant. But no such luck. Part of living out in the boonies here. One piece of advice I'd give you when trying to carve: the cleaner, you can keep it as you go. Saves a heck of a lot of time to clean up later. You can end up spending as much time getting out the little burrs and little areas where you need to just go back and clean it up. You can end up spending as much time doing that as you did carving the main piece. So I know when I first started I was a lot sloppier with it, and then I'd find myself spending hours and hours and hours just trying to clean up all the little hairs and strings, little spots. That's why it's important to like use something like this and really get into them corners and make sure that they're good, so that when you can pop that out and you're pretty much done, you don't have to go back and mess with it more. And I think the more you can get your piece to pop out nice and clean, the cleaner the overall carving looks. And see, this is going across the grain here, and it's really tough to get this to smooth out. I'm going to have to do a little bit of a curve action as you're removing it, trying to get it flattened out a little bit. It's almost as deep as this one. Maybe one more good pass through it. You can see how much more work it is going across the grain here. But hopefully, I know of myself, I've watched some people, there's videos of them carving, and just watching them carve is kind of relaxing. Hopefully some of you feel the same way. I've got all these time-lapse videos on my channel, and average video length is like 2 minutes long, and then I look at the analytics, and the average watch time is like 1.5 minutes. Not exactly. You're starting to get close to that magic number where you can monetize your channel, 1,000 subscribers. But if I only have 1,000 subscribers and they're only watching for watching for 1.5 minutes, as like I said lately, the drawings and paintings and stuff, they're hardly watching at all. I'm not in a big hurry to monetize my channel if it's not going to actually make me any money. I don't want to make people watch ads. Now, maybe sometime in the future, if I get enough subscribers, I mean, sure, I'd like to make some money, of course. But I think you need to get closer to the 10,000 subscribers before you're going to really see any significant money. Like even here, I'm pushing this down. It's tempting to really want to try and get all my depth in one go, but this knife will act as a wedge, and you see how small that piece is. You can very easily chip that piece right out. So I need a little patience to actually go back and do it in a couple of passes. As I said, sometimes taking your time and doing it right the first time is actually faster than trying to rush and then end up chipping a piece out and having it sloppy. Like none of this popped out, but that's okay. Just means I need to cut it a little deeper. And now it's got a little place to move to, so it's a lot less likely to chip anything out that I don't want to come out. I mean, I've kind of explained all this stuff in my tutorial videos, so that's why I don't really want to necessarily explain every cut I'm making. And I know sometimes my hand is probably in the way of the camera, but generally you're moving all around the carving, so it's kind of impossible to keep it in view at all times, unless I had a whole bunch of cameras set up. So yeah, I've been wanting to post a little more regularly on my YouTube channel, but it's such time-consuming kind of work and making it all time-lapsed. It's really tough to. Especially if I can only get like with my paintings, I've been only doing maybe one a week if I'm lucky. And that might take me 5-6 hours in my spare time. And that condensed down to a 2-minute video. Well, it's hard to keep that pace up. That's pretty good there. But maybe if there's any interest shown in like this kind of real-time stuff, I'll do more of it, even though it's going to take me forever and a day to upload this. I'll probably have to do it overnight while I'm sleeping. Just the upload speed is not good. Especially if this video runs, you know, a half hour, an hour. It's going to take some serious time to upload. Okay. Back to one of the easy sides. So yeah, trying to keep the price down on carvings is actually really tough to do. The time-consuming nature of it, as well as the fact that you got to pay for the wood, which isn't that cheap either. I mean, this is butternut that I'm using here, and I think it's like $12 board foot. 15 maybe, something like that. I can't really remember offhand, but now like 4 of these, it's going to end up being, you know, at least $10 worth of wood. So say I make 4 of them in a set, and each one of them, even if I got fast at them, is taking me a half hour to carve. Well, that's before even polyurethaning. So you have at least 2 hours of labor in, $10 worth of wood, and you haven't even polyurethaned them yet, or sanded them yet, or cleaned them up yet, and so yeah, it can get expensive really quick. I wish I could knock the things out faster and sell them a little better, but I don't know. I think it's kind of the allure of carvings is that it does take so much work, and you can tell when you're looking at it, and it took some work, took some doing. Otherwise, everybody would be doing it, right? And the other style I've shown in the past is chip carving, which I could probably do, you know, some of that on these, you know, coasters or something. But honestly, the chip carving is actually tougher on the wrist. And I did some chip carving the other day. A couple hours of it. My wrist was killing me. Fingertips were starting to go numb. I just understand it all. But the good thing about the chip carving is that I can kind of relax and do that as I'm watching TV or something. Where this, I have to kind of be focused and standing right over top of it. But this is a lot easier on the wrists and stuff because these tools are a lot easier to get some leverage behind. You see, even the way I hold this knife, I like really grip it like I would never chip carve like this. Or chip carving, I'm holding it like this, and it's just torquing on that wrist. It starts to get painful. I think I said in one of my other videos, some of these guys make the chip carving look like it's super easy, and that's just not really true. Whereas, I don't know, relief carving in a way, if you've got all the right tools, it isn't that hard as far as physically. I mean, right here, this is not taking hardly any effort to pop this piece out. But it's because you have the proper tool at the proper time. Just kind of the hard part is getting all the tools. They're not the cheapest things in the world. And then you're always going to run into a situation where you wish you had a different tool. And then you buy that tool and you'll find that you hardly ever need it. But every once in a while you will need it. Like for instance, on this one I wish I had a curved one like this, but except with a point on it, so I could get into that corner right there. But that would practically be the only thing I'd use it for. And you just kind of work around it. So yeah, if you are into drawing or painting, check out some of my other videos that I've done. I do a lot of portraits and some animal pieces and stuff, and I enjoy that too. That's another thing that I can kind of relax and do on my lap while I'm just kind of taking it easy. We are just about a half hour into this one already, but almost on the final side, so I guess it's not the worst time. But back to against the grain. So yeah, feel free to give me some feedback. You like watching this in real time. If you want me to talk more about what I'm doing or not talk at all, shut my mouth and carve. Oh, okay, you see the little tiny sliver right there chipped out? Good place for me to show you. Wood glue. That is so likely to happen on such a small piece against the grain like that, and it's really not really even your fault sometimes. You don't really know if the wood could actually have, naturally airy spots in it, and sometimes you'll get like a really nice piece of wood and that won't happen at all. Then other times you'll have a big piece and it'll just fall out. It's got natural, the wood's got natural flaws and stuff in it. It's not all the same. I think I already said that this is a butternut. I actually prefer using basswood. And even with basswood, sometimes you'll get a really nice, almost like waxy piece of basswood. And it seems so nice to carve. And then another time you might get like a dry piece of basswood. It's like, oh, and you'll find yourself chipping stuff out that you didn't intend to. Or it's just not as pleasurable to carve. So yeah, even though I want this deeper, I'm going to let that glue set up for a little bit before I start messing with it again. Yeah, so that's one of them things. I think people think that if you chip a piece off or something, that's the end of the project, that you screwed up. And I mean, you can definitely make mistakes wood carving that you can't fix. And I mean, if that piece would like fell on the floor, the chances of me finding it down there amongst the rest is impossible. So you just have to kind of hide it the best you could. But on the other hand, if you knock a big piece off and you know where it is, wood glue works pretty good. And I would imagine that even the best carvers out there have some wood glue on hand, because these things are gonna happen. But the more careful and patient you are, the less likely you are to make any major mistakes. And as I said before, it's less time that you're going to have to go back and clean up everything too. So in a way, you're better off taking your time. You actually save time by taking your time, if that makes any sense. And if you can't really try to make it real quick, you'll end up really sloppy looking and chipping pieces out, and then having to spend hours going back. It's actually a lot tougher to go back and clean up little slivers and little shards than it is to do it right the first time. I guess that just comes with a little bit of experience too. The first couple of carvings I ever did, I felt like, yeah, I'm getting close to done here, but then like every surface I was trying to create had like little hangers on like that, and it was like I spent hours and hours and hours just cleaning it up and cleaning it up, and it's like, it didn't go as smooth as I thought it did. Which is why my advice is really get into the corners. That's where your troubles usually occur, is in deep corners here. That's why your skew chisel is one that you'll find yourself using an awful lot. There's something kind of relaxing about carving. I don't know what it is about it. Once I start on something, I kind of don't want to stop. I just want to keep going until it's finished. So, you know, I'll spend hours carving. And I was carving really consistently for a while there, and I just burned myself out on it. And then I realized that in order to get more carving projects, I had to draw more carving projects. Everything starts with drawing, really, if you want to be original. And so I ended up just taking a lot of time off just drawing, and then I started working with that grid method. So I might do a tutorial video on the grid method and how I use that. Some people might say that's kind of cheating, but compared to tracing, it's not really. You're basically just freehanding, but you're just doing it in a much smaller area and using the grid as guides. And that really helped out as far as doing like drawing faces and stuff, where you have an eyeball or nostril that's just a tiny bit in the wrong spot. Really screw up the look of a portrait real quick. But keep that grid method and keeps everything generally where you want it. Makes it a heck of a lot easier. And then I started getting into just, you know, finishing my drawings, and next thing you know, I was getting a couple commissions to do some of these drawings. And so I did a whole bunch of drawings for a while there, and I just kind of, I don't know, the carving kind of got left in the sidelines for a while, and I still enjoy it, but like I said, the time to money ratio is not really there for the carving. I wish it was. Then recently I was messing around at first with like acrylic paints and messing around with watercolors. I've messed around with watercolors several times in my life, and they're a very challenging media to master. And then I had never, even though I had good friends that did a lot of oil painting years back, I really never tried oil painting. It seemed like it was going to be a messy. I didn't seem to have the patience back then to let something dry for days. And then one day out of the blue, I picked up a couple of tubes of oil paint, give it a try, and then I realized you don't even want them to dry. They blend so much nicer than acrylics do, and and the fact that you can go back the next day and blend them, and the oils that you left on your palette you can use the next day. It's like you almost don't even want them to dry until you're done. And then when you're done, then you gotta wait. But yeah, as soon as I switched over to oil paints and then applied that to my portraits, I was like immediately impressed myself with my results. I was like, this could be fun. And so I got on the kick of doing that for a while, and I still am definitely going to continue on doing that. But it's like anything else, you do too much of it, next thing you know, you're kind of getting bored with it, burning yourself out with it. And I certainly intend on starting on another one actually pretty soon. And I recently tried to follow along with a Bob Ross video. I must say, Bob kicked my ass. He makes it look easy. I tried to keep up in real time with Bob Ross, and oh my God, I used more paint than I ever had in my life, and it was a disaster. By the time I was done, I just scraped it all off and said, okay, I'll use this canvas again somewhere down the line, because it just didn't come out very good. I wish I could just freehand these landscapes the way some people seem to. I've struggled with just drawing trees forever. I have gotten books on just how to do trees, and God, it's so hard to make trees look natural when you're just making them up off the top of your head. And then when you look at a real tree in real life, to do it like, you know, grid method or something, trees are very complicated in real life, and even that, it's like you have to simplify them, because otherwise you'd be spending days trying to get a tree to look exact. So yeah, these guys, Bob Ross and stuff like that, these guys can make it look like it's nothing to knock out an entire landscape painting in a half hour. It's like, whew. It's an illusion. It's a lot harder than it looks. Alright, I'm going to do all the cutting of the strands now to try to make it look, bring the three-dimensionality out of it here. For instance, this one goes under here. I'm at 44 minutes here. Alright, try and keep this under an hour. I'm not going to go super deep with this, otherwise I have to make the whole thing deeper, and I don't really want to do that. It's about like that. So yeah, it's just one of them there. It's not even done yet, and I'm already at like 45-minute mark. So if I did a set of 4 of them, let's just say it's 4 hours of labor. Now, what do you sell something like that for? You know, it's a shame, because, you know, I'd like to make more than $10 an hour on my labor. I mean, $10 an hour, minimum wage in places. It's more than that, and I'd like to be able to actually make a little bit of money doing these things. But I mean, I understand it's something that you enjoy doing. You can't really worry too much about you know, your hourly wage, really. And if I could sell them, even if I was making, you know, $10 an hour doing them, at least I could do them whenever I felt like, whenever I had some free time. But by the time you get 4 of them, an hour each, add another $10 in for the wood, add another $10 in probably for the labor and the materials of polyurethane in them. And then Etsy will take their chunk, and I'd say the cheapest I could probably make these things would be like $60 for a set of 4. I mean, and even then I think that's probably lowballing myself a bit. I mean, I saw on Etsy the other day, I was looking up these coasters just to see what was out there, And somebody was just taking a log and sawing, basically cutting little slabs out of a log and polyurethane. I think you're selling like 4 for $20. It's like, you know, as far as the labor is concerned, that is nothing compared to this, you know. But I don't know, people don't want to pay for your artistic vision very much. As I was saying earlier, some of my most watched videos on YouTube are still sitting in the Etsy shop. And I don't think I'm being that unreasonable with my prices. I just think people don't, they just don't value the labor that goes into it. Alright, that's most of it. I'm going to spin it, get a couple more spots, and that's about it. So there you have it. All I'm going to do with this is clean it up a little bit, sand it a little bit, and then try to do that clear coat that I was talking about over top of it, and see how it comes out. Maybe I'll do a follow-up showing the final results. Maybe I won't, who knows. But yeah, that's my first little project I've come up with. I might do some little chip carvings or something about the same size and seeing what kind of time it takes me to do those. And then just seeing if there's any interest in them. Alright, thanks for watching. And any questions, feel free to ask.